Today's episode of the Writers Room Game Show is brought to you by MusicBed. With MusicBed, you get access to higher quality music than any other music resource. That means instead of thousands of variations on dubstep by some guy in his parents' basement, or what I can only describe as clown funeral music, you get real stuff you would listen to in real life. Great musicians, bands, and composers who pour their hearts into their work and wear cool hats and tight jeans. But Seth, I don't have $1 million to spend on music. I better stick with one of those other companies. Well, listen here, you big wrong person. MusicBed subscription allows you to have unlimited access to their amazing roster of artists for one monthly or yearly fee based on what kind of work you do. That's right. If you're making personal shorts or web-based ads, your fee is going to be way less than if you're making Super Bowl spots. And even if you are making Super Bowl spots, MusicBed's pricing and library are an absurdly great sight to behold. Ryan and I use it, you probably use it, and if you don't, go use coupon code GAMESHOW at checkout to receive your first month free when you purchase an annual subscription and start unlocking your film's full potential. You owe it to yourself. And us. You owe us. Go do this.
And then there's one object that's maybe like a fatherly figure or like a, just like a real uppity type that it's like trying to encourage people. And it's like this heartwarming thing. Like, why can't you do that? And they're like, we don't have instruments. We're salt shakers. And they're like, why not, use what you got? And they start making up instruments.
Dancing. Or they start dancing and they make sounds with themselves.
Yes, exactly. And it's like this revolutionary thing. And they become like, maybe in the house, they become like a huge
Salt-N-Pepa. They become Salt-N-Pepa.
Holy crap. They're watching Salt-N-Pepa on TV in the 80s and the 90s.
I'm laughing because it's so dumb and I love it.
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan.
And guys, listen, I'm Seth.
And welcome back to the Writers Room Game Show. It's the podcast
where you were like conducting? Or you like
it's the Writers Room Game Show podcast where every week we generate an original feature film idea from scratch in under 60 minutes.
Not following my beat at all. I'm conducting Ryan and he's not following. Anyway,
this is the audio people are going to feel so left out here.
As they should. Not because we love them the most.
Yes. I'm going to continue, Seth. It's the podcast where every week we generate an original feature film idea from scratch in under 60 minutes, working from a set of random prompts given to us by a big Hollywood studio. At
the beginning of every episode, the studio, which is really just an iPhone shortcut on this iPhone, assigns us, the contestants, a new project consisting of 4 components: the genre, the tone, the demographic, and a studio mandate, which is basically just a random thing the studio is requiring.
And we then have 1 hour to develop a feature film idea from scratch. Wait, I've already said that. Feature film idea that fits the assigned criteria with the surprise roadblocks along the way.
Surprise roadblocks. Watch out for them. At the end of the episode, we'll focus group the idea with someone of the target audience of which we were assigned. And we'll ask them actual dumb focus group questions. There is a points system. Points system. A perfect 40 will get us to our goal of fame and fortune, and a perfect 0. Ryan, what happens then?
Well, I've got a question for you, Seth. Has anyone in Hollywood ever hit the perfect 40?
So according to my son, actually, he's going to be embarrassed I did this, but my son has a very, very detailed, it's like a 10-point system for like for like the, rating films.
Oh yeah.
And according to him, no film can be a 10 because no film can be perfect. And he's right. Perfection is unattainable.
He's got a biblical view of.
Yes, he does. So there is no 10. So, and there's only one 9 in the world.
Spider-Verse?
There's only one 9 in the world, which is Spider-Verse. And so everything else.
That would be my perfect 10.
Everything else can max out at 8. So basically when a movie is perfect, it's like whenever he absolutely loves a movie and has no qualms with it, it is a perfect 8 out of 10. And I love it so much. So it's just, there's no 10s. Spider-Verse is the only 9, and then everything else is 8 and below.
But I think on the Writers Room Game Show, I have a feeling we will eventually get the perfect 40. I have no doubt.
Have we not? I guess we haven't yet. I haven't paid.
No, I think our first, we got, 36 on the Atrium, and then 36.
That's pretty good for the Atrium.
0.1842 or something, whatever Elliot rated us.
Oh, yeah.
On our,
if you can't tell, he's very analytical and very, very like scientifically precise about things.
But that would be the perfect score. If we get a 0, of course, we'll We'll quit screenwriting altogether and try it again next week.
We will quit the podcast if we get a 0. We'll quit for one whole week, and we'll return the next week.
You know what? I'm down for that. That's a promise.
What that means is we'll stick to our schedule.
Promise.
The Writer's Game Show promise. If we get a perfect 0, we will quit for the next 6 days and then return the week after.
Honestly, if we're feeling pretty tired, I wouldn't mind just going for the 0 to give us a week off.
I don't know. What I'm insinuating is that we will actually, the joke is that we would stay on schedule. It would be like, well, we're quitting for a week. We'll see you next week, which is what I just thought I'd explain the joke. We haven't even finished the script and I'm already explaining my jokes.
Seth, how are you feeling, my friend?
I'm dragging a little bit today, but I'm hoping that a mandated, randomly generated assignment will pick me back up again.
Yeah. I'm feeling similarly. I actually, it's been, I was going to say,
and you got sleep.
I got sleep for the first time. A good night's sleep. Thanks a lot, my baby. Which I thought was funny listening back to last week's episode that we named our main character after my new child, which is fun.
And then we had my child on the show.
On the show. We should have had dedications after the credits.
Wait, I'm sorry. 2 different episodes. My bad. So you're right. The one that just came out, we named it. Wait.
No, you're right. You're right. The Atrium. Amelie was the protagonist, and Elliot was
the Atrium. Elliot was a focus group on Pratfall Trilogy.
The Pratfall Trilogy. The best named movie ever. One thing I would like to get to before we get to our assignment. Our longtime listeners will know that if they call 1-866 HEY-WRGS, they can leave notes for us on our past episodes. Maybe they don't like an idea that we came up with. Maybe they came up with a better idea. They want to let us know.
Are we doing a notes call?
We got a few note calls for our first episode of this season, The Atrium. Most people, you guys should probably know, we record these in a kind of a weird way. We'll probably be a few episodes ahead of whatever notes you're leaving us. But we did get a few for our first episode of this season that I thought we could listen to and we can comment on. So our first notes call is actually from, who's this from?
There's either Dan or Neil.
Dan or Neil. They're not names. It's either Dan or Neil. Let's see who it is.
Hey guys, it's your pal Dan again.
It's Dan.
I'm looking at the Atrium episode, and I think you missed an opportunity here with the knitting angle, making that.
Oh no!
So you've got all these exercises and activities that the people trying on the robotic limbs have to go through to sort of test them out along the way. One of them should be a dexterity test for people who have missing arms, and the way that they test that is through knitting. And they can think it's a big funny joke or whatever. And then later on, they can reveal that the reason the knitting test became part of the trial here is that, you know, the main character had a parent or whatever who had lost the ability to use their hand, and that sort of motivated the research in the beginning there. And that's why it became used. That's why the focus group of people there are using it. They all get issued their own knitting needles and yarn or whatever, and eventually they become pretty good. And then later, you can use the knitting needles as sort of like a weapon or a tool to sort of help bypass some security options. Or
we can
have hand-to-hand combat if you want to get into that sort of thing. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Love the episode. Love you all. Goodbye.
Dan, that 2 cents appreciated. As literally as the time goes, as right now as the seconds go by, the 2 cents are appreciating in value to thousands. That was fantastic.
That was a really good idea. I especially loved just incorporating that more into the sort of ace. You know, we had an emotional story being told with the knitting, but it wasn't a part of the fabric of what people were actually doing in the physical world. I loved incorporating and using the knitting needles as weapons.
Yeah, always awesome.
We got a rated R Buster Keaton cyber thriller,
which we definitely remembered the rating throughout our brainstorming session. I do want to real quick say I believe that was our pal Dan Sturm. Everybody should go check out he and Joe Rosensteel's fantastic podcast Defocused, in which they just shoot the shit about movies, and it's great. I'm
still waiting for my invite, Defocused guys.
We are. I think we want to do a crossover at some point. I want them to review one of our films that we make up on the show.
I would absolutely love that.
Yeah,
that would be incredible.
So go check out Defocused. Great note, Dan.
Moving on to our note from Mr. Neil. Here we go.
Hey guys, Neil from Nashville. First time, long time. Just listened to the Atrium. and your mandate where it has to be or revolve around knitting. So you're talking about bionic limbs, right? And these bionic limbs that somehow attach to the body in new and miraculous ways, almost like they were knitted together. So maybe you call the program Knitter. Thanks so much.
Knitter.
No, I'm going to say a hard no. Nay, here's why. Knitter is just way too close to another word I don't want to say.
Oh no.
And I never will say.
Very true.
Neil, I'm sorry.
I actually regret saying knitter in that voice.
I regret saying it too.
I'm never going to say that word ever again.
Nope. I don't think anyone else should either. And Neil, starting with you, Neil, I don't think you should ever say those words again, ever.
When it's spelled out, it makes perfect sense. But
it's a K, but no one can hear a silent K, and everyone can misunderstand a soft T. My grandfather always told me that. Yeah. All right. I hear the studio.
That must be the studio calling. Perfect timing now that we're done with our notes calls. I'm going to take this call. Hey, studio. How's it going? Doing great. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you liked our last two movies. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll let them know.
It's nice of them.
Thanks. Have a great week. Oh, yeah. You too. Oh, yeah. She's doing great. Thanks for asking. Bye. Studio's getting real personal on the phone. Wasn't expecting that. All right. Seth, what do we got? They sent you an email.
Yeah. So this week, the studio would like the genre is a user submitted genre. This is from Caitlin. Thank you, Caitlin. The film has to be a musician or band biopic.
Okay.
The tone needs to be, the tone needs to be heartwarming. And the demographic, women aged 25 to 39, which I think you and I are both 100% qualified to write for. This is my favorite one. The studio mandate, the cast must be comprised entirely of inanimate objects.
Oh my.
The Writer's Room game show has begun.
Yes, it has.
So we're doing a music biopic with inanimate objects. What was the tone again?
Heartwarming.
Heartwarming. That's good. I like that.
Because that's, as we were talking about this before we started recording, I believe the term soul surprise was mentioned. The idea that I think I was telling you before we started recording that I've decided, after working on a very dramatic project recently, I'm determined all projects I want to work on going forward need to be fun or comedic in tone, but with a certain amount of soul, basically fun and comedy first, and then drama, like a surprise, drama and soul.
I share that sentiment so much.
And so plenty of soul, but the soul needs to be what is the surprise value in it, and soul surprise. So heartwarming is great, because that can just be our soul surprise.
It's really funny because I feel like the genre, tone, and target audience together, it's that makes sense. Heartwarming music biopic for women. Yeah. It's for women, men, whoever aged that age. That makes sense.
We're going for kind of 4-quadrant, and that will therefore include our target audience. Yeah.
But then the studio mandate, they must be inanimate objects. It's just so funny.
It's great. It's a Pixar movie essentially now. But what I love is now we're making a band biopic. This is the best kind of assignment because it's so specific.
And I think biopic implies that it has to be based on a real.
Do you think so? Now that it's inanimate objects, I don't know.
It could be like a Dewey Cox style.
I think of that thing you do.
Okay, totally. Right? I went straight to Dewey Cox.
I think that's okay.
But that's it's a send up of
biopics. Yeah.
Which that thing you do is more of it's actually a traditional, really fun, band movie.
There's a great retrospective article. I can't remember who wrote it, who did it. It just came out recently. That was talking about how for Tom Hanks, it was all about nostalgia. It was the intent was to create for him entirely nostalgia. And you watch the movie and it's very much encapsulates that, even though I never lived in the 60s or 70s.
Totally. Yeah, this is really fun. So where do you want to start? Do you want to start with what our inanimate objects are, or what our sort of setting is? Because that could kind of, because if it's a music biopic, something that I think is common in most music biopics, band biopics is touring and sort of traveling around, and we're seeing lots of different. We're seeing this band grow from a local artist. They're down on their luck to hitting it big time and touring around the country and trying to find that big gig, or possibly the opposite, where it's someone who's already been big for a long time and this is their last show, or whatever that is. But I feel like are inanimate objects, what they are and where they're going or where they are kind of
Yeah. So is this the origin story, or is this I guess what would it be called? It's like the fall of the Greek god, or the fall of, like, it's like the whatever the pretentious term for it would be, of the star,
For some reason, Heartwarming, to me, it would be easier to do like the, origin story of a great.
It's more optimistic and hopeful because it's going up. It's like the trajectory of that is normally up.
And we can have, that, third act fall or whatever before the ending. But
yeah. And I think what tends to happen, where that I think originates, is a lot of these stories tend to either be there's some kind of cultural obstacle in their way. Like there's somebody who feels called to and on this trajectory toward, their dreams, and there's some kind of either societal or cultural system that is holding them back, that like they don't fit into, and that is is holding them back. There's also, I think of like Walk the Line as an example of like the thing that's holding them back is some inner pain that the music it's speaking straight into the music and what's making it great. And the music is like serving as this like balm or whatever, for like temporary, like the success helps distract from the inner pain, but then eventually doesn't. It's basically, it's the inevitable. The cave they fear to enter is that whatever that deep internal pain that they have not processed. Basically, the movie is all about them finally processing that pain. So with that said, what kind of inanimate objects are they? I mean, the easy way to go is instruments.
Oh, that's true. Well, my question was, can you read me what exactly that genre was again? Because the
band / music biopic, or music / band biopic.
It's still, I'm caught up on biopic because it's like biography picture. Like every biopic that I'm like looking at.
But then we have to find an inanimate object to base the story on, which, okay, if maybe there's some iconic instrument.
I was going to say, or if if we pick a very famous artist or band to base our story on, but all the characters are inanimate objects. I don't know. There's something I don't want to get too caught up on the assignment and like sticking to biopic.
Well, but what's interesting though,
we're getting graded on our adherence to the assignment as well.
Well, what is that's a really, really good point. So what about this? Is there a real artist that we can find that has
an object,
an inanimate object is part of their narrative? And honestly, it could be a guitar, it could be a hat, it could be like something that we could actually make that thing. Basically, all the humans are all within the backstory and blurred in the back, like in the bokeh in the background, and our main characters are a bunch of like Toy Story like inanimate objects that come to life. And
I don't know how to do it. It's hard too, because I feel like we need to do a lot of research for a biopic to like see, or it's like picking one event from their story and then the rest is like pure fiction.
Then you know what? Let's just go Fargo with it and just say it's based on a true story. Like, let's call it a biopic.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Let's do that. Then we can create our band. Maybe we can allude that it's like this rock, garage rock band is alluding to them being Weezer in the 90s or something, but it's like they're objects and it's a fake band,
So inanimate objects means we can't even anthropomorphize them, right? They have to be.
but like with toys, it's like you have a toy cowboy that comes to life and becomes a real cowboy.
And they animates, but that's not what this says. This is inanimate objects.
It's a broom and it's sitting in the corner, and then that is what it does. And it doesn't move. It's inanimate. You don't animate it.
You said broom, and that makes me think, do we tell a musical biopic about about the brooms from Fantasia? No.
We should not do that. No. But I get what you're saying. Like if it's a guitar or a trumpet or something, and it's being wielded by a fake band, and it's more about the instrument than it is like the instrument is the character and not the person playing the instrument. Is that what you mean?
Yes, but I don't. There's a very fine line where that idea is interesting to me and good.
I know, and it's like, it's like if this was like a very quiet art movie that's sort of like still life about the objects that we use and their meaning in our life and all, like. But I'm like, I would rather do this guitar is being played by a person, but when we don't see the person in the room, the guitar like sort of comes alive and is like, or it's like,
Or could it just talk but never move? Could it be like every time we cut to it, it's moved, but we never see it move? Or it's just always sitting there and it can talk, like two inanimate objects can talk to each other, like just with a voice.
we have like static shots of them.
Yeah.
Like back and forth. Yeah, that's
you find ways for it to keep it alive and interesting. Like if they're hanging on a wall in like a trailer on a tour bus or something, and there's like, or something, and so they're like rocking back and forth or something. And I don't know, there's ways to find ways to have like.
That's really fun. But how do we tell, as with them as our protagonists, how do we tell a music biopic through their perspective? I guess would it be like this guitar has the best tone in the world, or they're affecting maybe the journey that the band's on. There's a bad show, and the guitar takes it personally, like it was on me, like I had a bad tone or so. I'm trying to think of like how these objects become the characters without making it Toy Story and they're alive, or just straight up doing a like it's what's the music movie I'm thinking of, the Cameron Crowe.
Almost Famous.
It's like Almost Famous, except literally it's like a Cars universe kind of thing where it's just inanimate objects. Like the humans don't exist, and it's all objects that are playing. And
I don't know if I want to do that, but what I am open to is never getting to know the band, and only some, like basically doing Almost Famous, but from the perspective of the instruments and only getting to know the instruments. Like, and they talk to each other, like, look who's talking, like Homeward Bound, like,
yeah.
Well, there's so the potential drama in there is in like being
inanimate.
Being like the potential drama is there. It's that like Toy Story, like, which is essentially about parent and child. It's like they're attached to a certain like, player. And as this person gets more famous and they get more and more guitars, maybe this guitar falls off the, it gets left behind and it becomes like an American Tale, but but yes. It's like, that's one. Yeah, we'll call Tony. We'll just have him voice it. But yeah, like there's obviously the estranged or the lost child.
I definitely think our movie starts at a show and we're like close up on the guitar and like a solo starts and it's like this really badass, incredible thing. And we start on the guitar, we zoom out. And it's like there's like two people at this show and this guy's like shredding.
I love that.
And then, it cuts the title, whatever good title is, like, we'll figure that out as we come. But then we come back to the title and it's like where, this music biopic would typically start after that. Maybe it's the band, talking about, how, I thought you said there's going to be 50 people or 100 people at this show. Like, what are we doing here? But it's like immediately after that conversation starts, we go close on the guitar and that sort of human conversation gets muffled and like the guitar starts to talk to the bass or like whatever. And it's sort of
it's so dumb.
It's sort of mimicking, or maybe they had a great time. They're like, I thought that show went pretty well. Like, yeah, like we played really good. I don't know. It's hard for me to get emotions from these objects.
Me too. And also it's just so damn literal. I don't know if I'm starting to regret the instrument suggestion that I'm pretty sure I made.
I think we need to fully Toy Story it and these.
I just feel like I want to see some like kitchen utensils like become like a successful band in whatever the world is.
Objects need to come alive and use the other objects around them as instruments instead of having physical instruments. So it's like a broom. It's a broom, and the bristles of the broom are like guitar strings that they're playing. And
they don't need to actually go become like, I guess I don't want to. I'd rather see the small scale version of a musical biopic.
I got it. Classic music biopic. We've got our protagonists before they become a musician. They're watching TV. They see the Beatles on the TV. They have this dream. Man, I wish I could be, a musician like that sometime. It's Remy watching,
Gusteau. I immediately thought of Remy and Gusteau.
And so we have these inanimate objects that come alive, maybe when the humans aren't there, the classic, whatever. Even if they are there, they come alive and they see, this famous band on TV. Like, man, I wish we had the ability to do something like that. And then there's one object that's maybe like a fatherly figure or like a, just like a real uppity type that it's like trying to encourage people, and it's like this heartwarming thing. Like, why can't you do that? And they're like, we don't have instruments, we're salt shakers. And they're like, why not, use what you got? And they start making up instruments.
Dancing. Or they start dancing and they make sounds with themselves.
Yes, exactly. And it's like this revolutionary thing, and they become like, maybe in the house they become like a huge
Salt-N-Pepa. They become Salt-N-Pepa.
Holy crap. They're watching Salt-N-Pepa on TV in the 80s or the 90s.
I'm laughing because it's so dumb and I love it.
But it's like, and so that maybe in the house, which is like their community of, like, when the humans leave, they become like a huge deal, and everybody's like, you should take this on tour. And they start like,
which is to the other room. It's literally just like, to other rooms in the house.
Yes, exactly. And so they tour around the house, and maybe it mimics a classic music biopic structure. We can twist it up a bit, but like, that to me is like kind of heartwarming, and it would be kind of fun and to get creative with the story and like what they're using or what their instruments are. Or, I don't know.
A big outdoor festival could be in the backyard. They're playing just like on the deck, and it's like lawn utensils, lawn stuff, and
dude, if there's like a battle of the bands, there's like they inspired other people to start making music around the house as well.
So is it literally Salt-N-Pepa? Is that what we're doing?
I feel like we gotta have to now.
I have to then. I'm not familiar with the music of Salt-N-Pepa.
I know the one song, but if we do
I love that I'm about to Google Salt-N-Pepa.
If we do Salt-N-Pepa as well, we have to like have other bands that are like their names taken literally, and I'm gonna struggle trying to think of names now for bands.
Forks, spoons. But you're right; it all has to be punny, and they have to be voiced by like Spoon.
Spoon.
Well, Spoon, the band. Oh my God. Yeah. That's better than what I was going to say.
It's just one spoon.
One spoon is the whole band Spoon.
Oh, man. This is
okay, listen. I'm actually all for this now. 100%.
I feel like it's becoming that Trolls movie where it's just like the freaking different
Trolls World Tour.
Yeah. That do different music, but I mean,
people love Trolls, man.
And this is for women aged 25 to 39.
25 to 39. That's where I'm getting kind of hung up. Like, by the way, I'm seeing this as like animated, like photoreal.
Yeah, photoreal, like Lion King, like the new one.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, because that's the weirdest version of this.
Yes, and you see real people when they pass through the rooms. So the Salt-N-Pepa, Shoop,
voiced by Salt-N-Pepa. Is everybody from Salt-N-Pepa still alive?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. I didn't know if there was. I didn't want to.
Like two women.
3, I believe.
Is it 3?
Maybe.
Yeah, Push It and Shoop are the 2 ones I know.
Maybe it is 2. Oh no! Group members included Salt-N-Pepa and DJ Spinderella.
I love that this is what we've landed on from this. We're like 17 minutes into this, and we've got a band made up of a Salt-N-Pepper shaker based on Salt-N-Pepa.
I think now we need to spend. We've actually that's pretty early for us. So I feel like
pretty good.
I feel like we should right now just find as many bands as we possibly can.
I think you're right. But bands named after objects. You can have animals too. Oh, sleigh bells. Oh, the cranberries. The cranberries can be literal cranberries.
The cranberries. Radiohead.
Spoon. Radiohead.
It's just radios.
They're just playing existing music.
Sorry.
It's like, how are we supposed to beat Radiohead at the Battle of the Bands?
They're just playing Radiohead. Oh my God. Existing.
But we make the radio like speak like Tom York when it's not playing music.
Yes, 100%. Weirdly, always it's like Bumblebee, but weirdly always has our interviews with Tom York to be able to play it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the Cranberries,
Sleigh Bells.
Sleigh Bells, that's pretty good. Only Christmas music?
No, Sleigh Bells is
I know, I'm just saying for like the
really great rock band.
Our version, because it would be literal sleigh.
Oh yeah. Just but I love that the Sleigh Bell song I know are really dark and cool. So that makes it even funnier that it's songs and bands named after things you would find in your kitchen.
Not a Forks band, is there? I feel like Spoon is the funniest idea from that.
Yeah, Spinal Tap.
Should we have like the Beatles be like when they go to the outside like World Festival at the end? The Beatles are headlining, and it's like just like 4 Beatles and are somehow styled after the actual Beatles.
Yeah. I feel like it's the easy thing to do, but if we don't do it, we're done.
I know, I'm spitballing here.
No, I love how I love how I'm being discerning with our, like, that's too obvious. I don't want to be hacky with our inanimate object biopic movie.
Our protagonists are a Salt-N-Pepa shaker named Salt-N-Pepa. So
Amy Mann, it's just a man, AC/DC, and they're just outlets, they're plugs.
Smashing Pumpkins, they're just like mush in the corner.
I actually love that a lot.
What happened to them? Oh, that's the Smashing Pumpkins.
Amy Mann is just a man. Have I said that? Air. I'm going through my iTunes now. Yeah.
Air.
Alt J, and they're just keys from a keyboard. Oh man.
Season 2, baby, Random Times. Let me check it out.
Arcade Fire. Just burning arcade games.
Okay. I have received the facts. Looks like it's coming through. Oh,
not every time.
Interesting. Our wild card, Seth. You're going to love this. The studio wants a sweeping epic following the same characters over multiple generations. So our biopic not only needs to be about this one tour now, but maybe multiple generations of this band. So maybe we're seeing a rise and fall.
Okay.
What does a generation look like as a
I don't know.
inanimate object? Because they probably have a little shorter lifespans maybe than humans. There's our wild card.
Okay. Multiple generations.
Okay, so I think we have our origin story, beginning of the film, and then we have sort of them on top. Maybe some drama happens.
I'm sorry, I'm just going through and still inputting as many bands as I can into the...
That's great. I need to pull up our notes.
Cake!
Oh, Cake. That's a good one. That one might have shelf life.
I just like the mush of Smashing Pumpkins. It makes me happy. Crash Test Dummies, which I don't know why anyone would have those in their house.
I didn't know that was a band.
Welcome to the 90s, my friend. So why don't you talk through some biopics? Like, what would can we model this after another biopic? Like after a certain, because the only one I keep thinking of is like,
I keep thinking of Dewey Cox because that's sort of like Walk the Line, but it's also
I keep thinking of Walk the Line.
20 other music biopics,
but it's based in tragedy. So part of me is like, why don't we look at That Thing You Do? It's happier and like
it's got to be heartwarming, right?
Yeah, it's less tragic and it's more just about fun and about like. Because that movie's great because it's like fun, and then like kind of not fun, kind of like sweet and sad, and then there's kissing, and then it's over.
There's kissing, and then it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, That Thing You Do, you're going to know a lot better than me because I know that's one of your favorite movies. I watched it probably about a year ago, but it's all through the eyes of the drummer, name Guy. Yeah, Guy, perfect for our podcast.
Yeah, yes, it is. Guy Patterson. So he gets kind of recruited into, he's like, so actually this is great because he's working at his dad's appliance store, which kind of fits here. Like, so it's like, they're just being a salt shaker, right?
How
just
funny. What if we did Spoon? Because for some reason, I love the idea of it's one person named Spoon. It's like whatever gender spoons are. I don't know what voice actor we would have played Spoon. They're like living their life.
Didn't we talk about having the actual bands voice these like...
Oh, they have them voiced by the bands.
I think they should be voiced by the band. And so I think in that case, we need to come up with our own original character.
Yeah, to me, the idea of Spoon, just like their regular life, like their normal life, normalcy or whatever, is people grab them and use them to like eat stuff. And they're like going into mouths and like,
oh God. I don't know if I'm on board with that.
But we would see like a montage. They don't have their face when like it's still
but is there something that can be more? Is there like, because I like the idea of like being like the guy working in an appliance store. Is there something that can be more behind the scenes? Nobody appreciates it, but it's an essential bland thing.
I mean, that can maybe be the Salt-N-Pepa shaker because it's just like,
well, but now if we're committing to like being the voices, like I feel like we need to find our own weird random thing that doesn't have a band associated.
And those can be sort of the cameos, like at the different battle of the bands and festivals and stuff like that. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Right.
I think you're right. What else could it be? But I think I like the idea of them either listening to music or like seeing it on TV or something, which inspires them. Like, I wish I could do that, because in Guy in the movie, isn't it? He's playing drums for different bands.
He's playing drums for really nobody. He's like playing by himself.
Someone gets injured, right? And he replaces them. And they're like,
this Giovanni Ribisi's character breaks his arm.
He plays the song too fast and like, that guy's got a future.
Exactly. Play it too fast. And then, Jimmy, the lead singer, is like, you played it too fast. And everybody else is like, this is the greatest song I've ever heard. And it takes off from there.
That Thing You Do, was that the song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Written by, performed by Fountains of Wayne, written by, the guy he passed away from COVID last year.
Fountains of Wayne? I
don't remember his name. Yeah, Fountains of Wayne were the actual band,
Incredible.
I believe.
I didn't know that. I would not guess that based on the sound of the band.
I know, right? What's great about that is it is like I would argue, you could totally negate me, but I've never met a person. Again, I'm fully prepared for you to be the first one, but I've never met a person who watched that movie and ever got sick of the song while watching it. It's a combination of like the song.
You continue to sing it after it ends.
Yeah, the song is so
like
great.
20 times.
Yes, they played so many times, and so I'm convinced it's a combination of the song being so good and they actually are very, very specific and careful about, I think that they play it the exact number of times that it doesn't get sick of it. And in the exactly different context. So there's slightly different mixes that play. There's, different lengths and the different contexts in which they're playing it like live. Yeah. And you're like
the recorded version on the radio. Then you got the different live versions at festivals and the different.
Yeah. Oh man. And they recorded at the, his Uncle Bob's like church. It's like who does church recordings and stuff. Yeah. And they're like not allowed to swear. I love it. Oh my God. Jars of Clay.
That's good. That's good. The Christian band in our
yeah. Did you know that one of the Jars of Clay cuts my hair? He's my barber.
That's funny. What's like a popular Jars of Clay song?
Flood. That was like their big hit.
Flood.
Flood. And then there was a song called Unforgetful You that was on the soundtrack to Drive Me Crazy.
Right in the car, and my mom would play Christian contemporary music on the radio. That song was
Flood was huge. Yeah. That whole first album was huge with white acoustic guitar players. But also it was a great 90s album.
We have 15 minutes left.
Okay. Johnny Cash, it's just money. Sorry.
Cash. That's pretty good, dude. I love it. I love the idea of there being these music festivals and the acts are just like literal translations of these band names. All
right, story wise, I just want to rip off that thing. You're like, okay, we need like our item.
We need an item and like a genre of music that kind of goes with that item, or like a band to. But I think I would be fine with kind of doing that thing you do. Yeah, what's our item? So we have all these other items and band names
because it needs to be like a.
Maybe not food related, because the more
I don't want anything that goes in people's mouths. Yeah,
exactly. Same. And I liked your idea of something that people forget about. Maybe it's been lying dormant in the closet for a long time, and it's taken out one time, and they see or hear this music and become inspired. Like it's just been sitting in a closet. People forget about it, and maybe it's like
so holiday related.
That could be interesting. A wreath. Houseplant. Isn't that a band? No, that's Seth Rogen's.
It's his weed thing. Yeah, his weed thing. The lemon heads.
E.T. That E.T. statue in Seth's office.
And have you ever seen the tweet that says every picture of E.T. from the E.T. ride looks like he's like destroying someone in a rap battle, and it's just a series of pictures, and he's always like, it's one. I'll have to find it. It's one of the funniest.
Love that. A fan? Oh no, there's got to be fans for sure. Like there's going to be so many fans there, and then it cuts to a picture or cuts to a shot where there's like literal fans in the audience.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. I love that. We're going to both die on this episode of the Writers Room Game Show. You know what? Let's stop thinking. Let's just type. Okay, here we go. House plants. Oh God.
Let's just do plant, bro. Like it's being watered. Maybe it's being but that
flashlight.
People don't forget about their the flashlight's got to light the stage.
Yeah, it's a spotlight. Yeah, you're right.
Plants, I feel like wouldn't be forgotten because they've got to have.
We play with contrast, specificity, and contrast. Let's do. So, what's something that would let's go the Ratatouille route. What's something that would you would expect to be the last thing to make music? Something that's noisy and obnoxious.
Vacuum cleaner,
a dust buster, a smoke alarm.
Just beeping constantly.
What's something notoriously like noisy, but that's like small enough that can be our main character and be like adorable and cute? It can be an underdog.
Not a blender. Like that's
too big. It's got to be like the size of a utensil or something. Like the audience is screaming at us. The listeners are screaming at us.
I know they really are. We're going to get so many calls about this freaking movie. This is a tough one, folks. We're definitely stumped. Maybe we don't record on Mondays anymore.
So
we usually do it on Fridays. We got a wild card. See, we're getting facts.
Thank God.
Getting.
Oh my God! I totally forgot that wild cards could happen at any time in this season. This is the greatest thing to ever happen to us.
Looks like they got the facts here, Seth, from the fax machine.
Yeah.
It looks like the climax of the film must take place around a dinner table.
Okay.
Which actually could help us if we, depending on where we take our story and what rooms we take it. Maybe the dinner table. Maybe there's like one. Well, it says climax.
Yeah.
Climax. Maybe we have a big show at the dinner table, or maybe a showdown. Maybe there's the band. I guess we haven't decided if we have a band or just an artist, like a single artist.
Yeah.
We really haven't got that far in the story.
No, we haven't got that far in the story.
Inanimate objects.
Oh my gosh, this is hard.
Because this is a tough one.
Okay, does it help if they're like, if there's something that's noisy that the parents would say not at the dinner table, or the parents would say, like basically to where like it's something that could get thrown out by risk getting thrown out by the humans.
A loud like toy that a kid would play with? Yeah, like there's some sort of,
which by the way there's this horrible toy that's this monkey slingshot thing that goes like it does this loud monkey sound when you launch it, and every grandmother and aunt decides to buy that for their niece, nephew, or grandkid, and it's the worst. I'm gonna find it. Monkey slingshot, and that will be our main character because it's horrible.
You know what women aged 25 to 39 love are the monkey slingshots.
Screaming monkey slingshots, which by the way is a great band name.
Screaming monkey slingshots.
Screaming monkey slingshot.
Mel Gibson's like, you know what women want? Screaming monkey slingshots.
Oh my God. I don't want to hear what anything Mel Gibson has to say about.
Yeah, we haven't even figured out if we have one inanimate object as our main character, if it's multiple and it's a band, because that creates a little bit more drama. At this rate, we're going to probably have a log line for our pitch. You're looking around your office for inanimate objects. I think they can be office supplies. It could be like stapler and tape and
office supplies.
Stapler, tape, highlighters. The highlighters. It could be
the highlighters. Sounds like that's like the Supremes kind of a band. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but that doesn't sound like the main characters. That sounds like a bit like moment. All of these sound like bit gags that show up along the way.
What was the band of that thing you do? What were they called?
It's so good. They were the Wonders, but at first they tried to do it like the Beatles, BEAT, like, instead of BET. So they tried to be the Wonders, ONEs, and everyone called them the Oneaters.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is brilliant.
That's a great gag. We should just pitch them the exact plot to that thing you do. See what happens.
I mean, yes.
We talked about maybe doing that for an April Fool's episode at one point, pitching our focus like the entire show. We just like act like we're coming up with an original idea, but it's a literal translation.
And we just pitch them like X-Men Origins Wolverine. And
got a great pitch for you today. Dude, I don't know.
I am stuck.
We need to do Salt-N-Pepa.
The problem is we're doing a biopic, and then I don't know the story of. I feel like we're insinuating pitch. If it's okay.
Our movie is a biopic about the great girl group Salt-N-Pepa, except Salt-N-Pepa is played by Salt-N-Pepa.
Yes,
Shake.
And we actually will play out their band's narrative. We don't know what it is. We'll quickly look it up real quick. But we say like, we need to do the research. We do not know the story of this band. What we want to do is we want to take, right now we're talking about it being Salt-N-Pepa, but we want to take an actual group, an actual like musical act, like from history, and tell their narrative, tell their story, except it's all set in the world of a house. Like they are the actual inanimate object
Here's what we should have been doing. We should have been on Salt-N-Pepa's Wikipedia page.
Yep.
Looked up their story and then just adapted it to be with an animate. I don't know
why we didn't do this.
Like as a biopic, we could have.
How much time do we have? How quick can we read this?
We've got about 7 minutes.
Okay. Formation in early years, 1985 through 1987. And we set this in 1985. 1985? Yeah.
Okay.
Brooklyn native Cheryl James met Queens resident Sandra Denton, both studying nursing at Queensboro Community College. The pair became close friends and co-workers at Sears. Sears, they're not even bought yet. They're like
they're literally at Sears. Okay, I'm writing this down.
Co-worker Herbie Lovebug Azor, I don't know how to pronounce it, was studying record production at the Center of Media Arts. and asked James and Denton to record for him as a class project.
Let's say at Sears on the TVs, they saw
or there's a record. There was a record at Sears.
They loved. Like his name's Herbie.
This resulted in the single "The Showstopper," an answer record to Dougie Fresh's hit single "The Show." Dougie Fresh will have to be some kind of fresh produce, I don't know, by the duo who originally called themselves Supernature, along with DJ LaToya Hanson in late 1985.
They wanted to be like Herbie. They wanted to be a record.
The single used a melody from the 1984 film Revenge of the Nerds.
We're going to work that in
TV. The finished recording garnered some airplay on a New York City rap radio program. Yada yada. Adopting the stage name Salt-N-Pepa released their debut album Hot, Cool, and Vicious in December 1986. The group recruited DJ Roper.
Let's real quick. So in our story, Salt-N-Pepa, they are at Sears. Their friend Herbie is a record. They love Herbie. They love music. They want to be music. They want to play music. They wish they could play music. And then on the next phase of this in our story would be, I'm trying to figure out how to adapt this to
think about Salt-N-Pepa. This goes in an interesting direction because they do become apparently they were the one of the first all-female rap groups, and where many feminists disliked rap and hip-hop because of its bad portrayal of women. Salt-N-Pepa changed the look of it. They were scantily clad in sexy clothing and were not afraid to talk about sex and their thoughts about men. Their song "Let's Talk About Sex" was a huge hit. So this takes an interesting direction with, I don't know how to convert that to being the Salt-N-Pepa.
Well, there had never been a Salt-N-Pepa shaker playing music before.
They were always musical instruments. These were the first
non-musical instruments to play.
Yes, sure. This is falling apart as we go immediately.
We really thought this was going to work. We know they were.
Why did we really think this was going to work? We were desperate.
I like them starting at Sears, so that's interesting.
Yeah, you're right. It's in the back. We're good. They're started at Sears.
They were friends with a record player. Let's just call him a record player.
Okay.
Herbie, and played music. They wish they could play music as well. I'm trying to figure out how they actually play music or what they would do. Would they sing Salt-N-Pepa?
Yeah. Well, they do rhythm, they can
it's like stomp. It's just like only rhythm, They
can stomp, shake, and they can rap.
Yeah. They begin
because it's such a good idea.
They begin to shake and stomp and rap
and season.
The other appliances are impressed.
This is a solid outline.
Seth, I'm losing it, bro. This is for like millennial women.
Yeah, it is. Oh God!
It would be amazing if it was the actual story of Salt-N-Pepa told from a black female perspective.
Yes, it'd be amazing. All of these things we are unqualified to write.
Instead, it's two white dudes adapting that story to be inanimate objects in a Sears.
Oh, no, it's bad. That's a bad idea. Thank God we don't have to actually write this or sell this.
We have our focus group. So I say we pitch a log line, an overall, we can pitch an overall story. We've got these great inanimate objects, these other bands we could pitch as part of the story.
Oh my God. I'm kind of angry that we didn't
do a good job.
Yeah. And then we also didn't even think about, I just recently watched the Beastie Boys story, which is great. If you haven't watched it on Apple TV Plus, it's fantastic. That would have been potentially more fun to adapt straight to some kind of an analogy, because I know that story. I have some familiarity with the story, and it's 3 white guys. So I feel like we would have been a little more qualified to write that.
She is a producer at Weekend Video and one of my best pals, which is why I'm expecting her to completely rip apart our idea. Welcome, Lindsay Detweiler, to the show.
Yay!
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here, Lindsay.
We
apologize for what we're about to subject you to.
We're very sorry for this pitch. But we're going to have fun and see what happens. Because it's season 2, you've been listening. We're gonna tell you the assignment up front, and then we'll give you the pitch, and then you can grade us.
Okay. Do you give me the
and then
studio
we're going
mandate?
to run away.
You give me the studio mandate.
Yes, we will, and the wild card, I think.
Yeah, both wild cards.
Okay, so we got a music biopic as our genre.
Boy, Oscar winner.
Heartwarming, women aged 25 to 39, hence you in that age range. And then the studio was all the characters had to be inanimate objects.
Like
And-
Brave Little Toaster style?
Yes, just like Brave Little Toaster,
Yes.
which is definitely a band name.
Toaster would have actually been the right way to go. Anyway.
And we also had 2 wildcard mandates. One was that, I actually completely forgot about our second one.
Mm-hmm.
Our
And our
first one was that it had to be a multi-generational story told, over multi-generations. And our second wildcard mandate was that the climax of the film happens at a dinner table. Seth, do you want to lead it?
No. So, okay. So our story, here's what we want to do. And this is outlandish. And we want to point out, first off, because of the nature of this podcast format and time that we have to work in, I know I shouldn't be starting off with disclaimers, but I do want to say this idea is horribly under-researched. So as a result, it's like horribly underbaked. We do, however, think that with the right amount of research, this could be a very ambitious and very fun concept and story to tell. So we would like to tell the actual story of the musical group Salt-N-Pepa, except we want to frame it in the context of an actual salt and pepper shakers, 2 actual salt and pepper shakers, and try to convert their story into a household object world. And so in this world, we will encounter other artists who are named after certain household objects that will actually be voiced by those actual artists. But we want to tell the Spoon, which I don't know how often Salt-N-Pepa and Spoon cross paths.
The Cranberries,
Radiohead.
Yes.
Great.
Radiohead would
AC/DC.
literally just play recordings of Radiohead on a radio.
Yeah.
Smashing Pumpkins, which would just be a pumpkin mush on the ground.
All of these were central figures in the hip hop scene in the 80s, but
Run the
anyway.
Jewels. Run the Jewels
Jewels.
is another hip hop group, which is just Jules.
Oh,
This is Jules. So
I love that.
again, horribly under-researched, but the idea here is, so apparently they met, Cheryl James and Sandra Denton, who were Brooklyn natives. I'm reading their Wikipedia page. They apparently met because they were close friends and coworkers at Sears. So we're like, okay, there's salt and pepper shakers that were on sale on the rack at Sears. And that's how they met. That's how they meet. Ryan, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, so Salt and Pepper, or what some people call Salt-N-Pepa. It's hard because they're salt and pepper shakers, but I guess they're named Salt and Peppa. Yeah, in this universe.
Yeah.
They are at Sears, right? And they've got a friend named Herbie who's a record player, always playing records. They're really good friends with Herbie.
Okay, you can't talk slower and expect more content to come out of it.
That's totally what I was doing. So he's often playing music. Salt-N-Pepa love music. They love listening to what he plays. It's, everything from the classics to new stuff, whatever. And their big dream is they wish that they could play music. They wish that they could be like a group, but they're just salt and pepper shakers. They exist.
They're not instruments. They're not, they're not musical instruments, only instruments. Yeah.
And so they exist to salt and pepper things, right? Well,
Work in the kitchen because they're women.
yeah,
Maybe that's the analogy.
That is what they think their destiny is, but they want to break the mold, right? Because they were Salt-N-Pepa was the first
One of the
first women,
all female,
all women hip hop groups. And so we want to kind of use that as like the salt and pepper shaker are the first non-musical instrument to break the mold and become a band or an artist or whatever. We're sort of living in Toy Story world where it's like they have their own. We should also mention that this movie is told it's live action. The sort of animated, inanimate objects are like photoreal, sort of like a modern Lion King movie where it's like it's animated.
So it looks like a live action movie.
I see.
They don't have arms and legs. They just look like inanimate objects that we haven't decided if they even move in frame ever, or if I guess they do. They have to move in frame, but they don't have eyes
because basically Salt-N-Pepa at Sears.
Oh yeah, they stomp and shake. That's right.
They kind of stomp and shake around. They're shaking, they're creating rhythm, and then they start rapping as well.
But everything talks. Look who's talking style. So you hear their voices, but you don't actually see any mouths moving because they don't have mouths. arms and legs, but they can hop and they can shake.
I'm like,
you look confused. Why?
well, no. I'm just trying. Trying to visualize it. I'm thinking about like some kind of Sesame Street spot I've seen where like a cup is like jumping around in the cupboard, and I don't remember if he had a face or not. But yeah, I'm tracking with. They don't have faces.
No
they
faces.
might kind of move.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
You're getting it.
Yeah.
Better than we are.
That's the general vibe. Yeah.
So, wait, is that the story?
No. We're continuing.
I like this.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah. We got to continue, right?
yeah.
Anyways.
So then they play out the story of Salt-N-Pepa. The end.
Yeah. They eventually make it to a house. Someone picks them up from Sears. They make it to a house. And they actually have, they go on tour around the house in different rooms playing shows. They're becoming much more popular around the house with other inanimate objects. Actually,
They play a festival show in a backyard as well on a deck to a bunch of actual fans. And
fans.
Yeah.
That's
And we sort of have your classic music biopic where we're seeing sort of the rise of Salt-N-Pepa. And it sort of ends. Actually, it ends in present day Salt-N-Pepa because it has to be multi-generational.
oh wow.
And so they end up, they end up sort of living at this house. They have a great career. Everyone around the house is singing their songs. They've got, hit songs. They've got tons of hit songs, which we know and love. Right, Seth?
Tons of that we all know and love really well.
Yeah, we don't even need to mention them because we all know and love them.
Because we know them so well. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh no.
She said, oh no.
And their story climaxes at a dinner table where Salt-N-Pepa have been purchased by a family. They're being used as salt and pepper shakers, and they feel like they've given up. They're like, I guess we're just salt and pepper. We were never meant to be these artists. But
Salt-N-Pepa.
But then inanimate objects all around the house start to hum and sing their song, and they become inspired. We've inspired a generation of household objects with our music, and so they start to sing. And the family sitting around the table is like, "What's
very
happening?"
confused, and they run.
They're like, "What's happening?" And
I can't tell if he's being serious.
all the objects around the house are like singing and dancing this Salt-N-Pepa song.
And the family is terrified. The family is absolutely terrified. They get up, they run. We stay in the house.
It's like Matilda when Matilda's like dancing around and all the things are flying around her. It's like that.
Oh,
But with
Shoop.
yeah.
And Ryan's going to give us a few more bars of Shoop just so we kind of get the energy of the scene as well.
No, I think we got the vibe.
Okay.
But that's our movie. What are we calling this, Seth?
Salt-N-Pepa.
Salt-N-Pepa.
Wow.
The true story
The true story.
I mean,
of Salt-N-Pepa.
I don't even know. Y'all are creative. I'll definitely give you that.
Oh, you're very sweet and
Thank you so much. Any other
full
thoughts?
of lies.
The way that you fit in inanimate objects with the biopic. I mean, I actually think
That was the only thing we did.
like a good start. It was pretty cool.
Okay.
Okay. We've got some questions for you, Lindsay. Actually, do you have any other thoughts?
My only other thing is, well, obviously, if somebody else really loves Salt-N-Pepa, then they might have some things to say about a whole biopic being made about them. But I'm sure you guys would have them on your team, right?
We would actually delegate writing of this 100% to someone more
Who loves
knowledgeable of Salt-N-Pepa. Yes.
Yeah.
And ideally a black female voice
Yeah.
based on just the rich history of Salt-N-Pepa.
I think we're just EPing this. We're producing this. We'll step back. We'll hire a creative team. Yeah.
So
That's great.
But yeah, we have a few questions.
Okay.
As you know, we're doing a point system where each of these 4 questions you can rate 1 to 10. The first question being, would you see this movie?
How likely are you to see this movie?
How likely are you to see this movie? 1 to 10 as a woman aged 25 to 39.
I would say like an 8.
An 8.
I have never heard of a movie like this in my life. This is a pretty crazy movie.
Okay.
It's a pretty crazy movie. That's for sure.
I'd be like, how did they make this work? I would need, maybe it's more
I would
out of
tune in
curiosity.
for that too.
I would
like
I
a train
have the
wreck.
Same question. Second question. Would you recommend this movie to a friend? 1 to 10.
How likely are you to recommend it to a friend?
Yes. What Seth said.
Okay, so putting someone else in.
You would actually recommend this movie to a friend. But
if it was as good, if it was as good as like you think it could be, yeah. Based on what we told you, how likely are you to recommend the movie to a friend?
Sure, like a 6.
Okay.
6.
I'll buy that. That's good.
No,
I
we
mean,
want you to be
funny
honest.
that you're
Lindsay.
saying like if it's under the premise that somebody else is writing it.
No, that's
what
valid.
we pitched. We want you to rate what we pitched.
Okay.
Which, yeah, I think it sounds like it would be under the premise of, wow, this movie is crazy.
Yes.
In a bad way.
Well, no.
What was our adherence to assignment? 1 to 10. How well did we adhere to the assignment?
I think you guys
So we have
did pretty good.
a music biopic that is heartwarming for women aged 25 to 39. Characters are inanimate objects. Wildcard is multi-generational story. And then the climax must be around the dinner table.
Okay. I would give that one 7. A 7. Although it was pretty spot on. Is that too high?
That's not bad. That's pretty great.
I
So
like
far,
that.
we have a significantly better score here than we deserve.
Okay. I guess only the multi-generational story. I forgot exactly how that was.
So did we.
Added in. Okay. I mean, how could I can't give you the lower score.
Yes, you can, Lindsay. Yes, you can.
Fine. And then our final question is just in general, rate the movie idea. Like, how is our movie idea? 1 to 10.
This is like harder than I thought it was going to be. Actually, having to give you guys numbers now.
That's the theme of this episode.
And we'll let you know we're not attached to this idea, so don't feel like you're hurting our feelings.
I will give it a 6.
How dare you? So we have an 8, a 6, 7, and a 6. 27 out of 40. Our lowest score by about 9 points this season.
It's only the second.
And it's a lot higher than what I was expecting, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Guys, you made a movie in under an hour.
We made a idea for a movie in under an hour.
Yeah. I'm not going to stop your free flowing of
Lindsay,
ideas.
Let me ask you, out of all of our band ideas, which one would be your favorite? Our inanimate objects band ideas.
I just saw the Black Eyed Peas. Maybe I'm not supposed to look at your list.
No,
well, so those are cameos. So we have a list of cameos, and then we have a list of items. And then we have a list of items that we were going to, before we landed on Salt-N-Pepa, that we were going to try and originate, like create an original character and tell an original that thing you do type story.
That's good.
And we were like, right, Ryan? Is that what you were going to ask her?
Yeah. Just like
we had a houseplant, a spoon, a blender, a flashlight, a vacuum cleaner, a smoke alarm, or a Band-Aid.
Spoon's pretty good.
Spoon's
our favorite.
Our
we just didn't want to do mouths.
Yeah, the band name Spoon, and it was going to be a literal spoon.
Yeah.
You know, I think this would really check some boxes for people who have like a very like literal sense of humor. Things like, you know, I can appreciate it for sure. I think there's some creative genius in here. You guys are being too hard on yourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
Genius.
Lindsay, you have been a wonderful focus group. Thank you for being so kind to us and merciful to us.
Too kind.
Well, thanks for having me, and thanks for sharing your ideas with everyone.
Well, Salt-N-Pepa, the true story, airs on Lifetime next.
You say that. Apparently, there is a Lifetime original, there's a Lifetime biopic about Salt-N-Pepa. I read further down on the Wikipedia page. Yeah.
Oh my, it already exists.
Yes, this already exists. I doubt that version, they are inanimate objects, that they are literal salt and pepper shakers. But I do love that ours is called Salt-N-Pepa, the true story.
The Writers' Room Game Show with me, Ryan Pollock, and Seth Worley. Executive produced by Grant Wakefield at Weekend Video and Ann Fogerty at Plot Devices. Edited to perfection by Rene Gomez. Our art is by your buddy, Meg Lewis, and our face-melting music is by Ben Worley. The Writers' Room Game Show is a Weekend Video production in association with Plot Devices. Learn more about Weekend Video at weekend.video and check out writersroomgame.show to listen to all of our episodes and suggest your own prompts for future shows. And don't forget to rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts. It really helps our show out a lot. See you in the next one.